I did... No, pumpkins. Bonjour! Are you ready for pumpkin season? Well, I hope you are, because we are making a shirt shaped like a pumpkin. Will this be wearable casually? Well, I guess it's up to your taste, but I think it's the cutest idea. I think it's very on theme, which I absolutely love. So we're doing it. Well, I'm doing it. I guess you're just watching, but you might get a few ideas, so let's go. What inspired this project is that I found this book that was gifted to me a while ago. It's basically some advanced patterning technique from Japan. And of course there is this, making this folded balloon piece that's actually on the cover. And even though it's not exactly what I want, it's very close, so I think I'm going to use this as a base. It's very rainy today, so never mind the frizz. So I did, no. So the plan is to have a little gathered, I'm planning a straight shirt with some gathering at the bust and a little bow. Pumpkin shoulders, and I want a fitted sleeve, so I think I'm gonna do a little wrist close with some buttons. I have this lightweight orange cotton that I think is going to be very comfortable. I just have to reinforce it for the pumpkin part of the shirt. And for the green parts, I just need a tiny amount of green fabric, I don't know. To the fabric stash! So we have the well-organized fabric here, and in the green I have a little piece of silk here and this velvet. The silk feels nice, but the color is just too bright. Like this orange is a bit muted, so with this really bright green I don't think it goes well. And the velvet will be annoying to sew, but I think it works better with this. It's a bit more subtle, and also it has some texture which I think can work great for leaves. I think this works. There is also this hint of red or orange. Yeah, it's a good match. This one has not moved. Huh? Okay. Here are the pieces all flat.
And now we transfer everything to paper using
the roulette! So this is the pattern for the bodice. I just have to make a mock-up now. I don't want to make a mock-up. No, I have to make a mock-up. I don't want to make a mock-up. You don't want to make a mock-up. But we have to make mock-ups. Come on. It is barely fitting the mannequin. I subtracted the ease instead of adding it. Okay, this is way too tight for a shirt. See how the fabric is pulling everywhere? If these were buttons, they would be like that. Anyways, I'm going to add a few centimeters on the side so I can have much more ease on this. Here there is a bit too much fabric, so I think I'm going to make this seam go a little bit lower. And there is also pleats over there, and especially in the back. And that's because I have a smaller torso than the mannequin. Let's make the changes and try again. Now with all those changes, I should make a second mock-up, but I'm going to use this fabric. Because I'm lazy, so if I really want to test it out, I should use the same weight of fabric. And I have a lot of this, so if it's really a mess, I can cut it again, it's okay. Okay, so I've been thinking about this while cutting the fabric. I said I wanted to do some gathering on the bust, but hear me out. Pumpkins. I can make the cups padded, so it's like bust support, but also with some stripes to look like a pumpkin. Maybe it's going to be very goofy, but I really want to try it. I love it. Good morning. So I think now we should assemble the bodice, and for that we are gonna use French seams. And I actually dressed for it. Oh, you want it to be more French? Okay. I know, you're very impressed.
If you don't know how to make French seam, it's not very complicated. You sew your pieces together once, wrong side against wrong side, you iron them flat and you cut the excess seam allowance, and then you sew that seam again on the other side, encasing the raw edge and protecting it. That way you have your piece finished on the outside and on the inside. It's double the amount of time it takes to make a normal seam, but you don't have to do any finishing, so actually it might save you some time. I can attach the pumpkin cups to the bust, and these pieces won't be lined, so I'm just protecting the seams with some little strips of bias that I cut into the scraps. These strips can be folded and pinned in place and then sewn by hand. I don't want this stitching to be visible from the outside. This orange fabric is very easy to hand sew, and with the batting it makes it even easier and pleasant to sew by hand.
I have the back, I have the front. But to finish the neckline, I think I'm gonna do a facing because this fabric is very flimsy, so I think this part is going to be too weak to support a sleeve when I attach it, so I'm going to make the neckline a little bit more strong with some simple cotton.
This edge can be secured by hand again, and we are done with the bodice. Now let's make the actual pumpkin sleeves.
Now we have a bodice with some finishing done. It still needs buttonholes and a hem, but I'm gonna work on the sleeves. The pattern for this is basically just a banana shape, but I think this is a bit too much like an accordion. I want it more spherical. So I think just making this shape a bit less curved should work, but I'll try. So we basically need a banana. Let's try this. This is about the right size. Should I make it bigger? No, we'll try this one. Let's just include about 1 centimeter of seam allowance. Fold in half so it's symmetrical and just cut this shape. Banana. So I don't know if the shape is right. I should have made this seam inside out. We will know that for later, but it's way too small. Let's try a bigger one. I still think it's a bit too small. It's still a bit too pointy, so I will make the banana bigger and more straight. Okay, so I think this is the right amount of pumpkin. I think we are good and we can start on the orange fabric. Yes!
How many bananas are in a pumpkin? I know it's a weird question, but the answer is 10. So let's just cut 20 bananas. See, those math classes are actually useful. We can sew them by 2, flip them inside out, then attach them together. The pumpkin part only covers the top of the shoulder, so we still need to make a piece for the underarm. The bottom of this pumpkin needs to go because, well, I have arms. The next section of the sleeve is a rectangle that turned out to be actually a trapezoid that will be closed using another French seam. To make sure that the pumpkin stays in the right shape, I'm going to add an elastic at the shoulder, and also the quilt batting is very itchy. Let's add a quick lining on this part. Of course it needs to be sewn by hand to be invisible, so let's enjoy another hand sewing moment. This is what I spend my days on, making items that no one in their right mind will ever wear. Life has no meaning, and that's why I enjoy those silly projects so much. And if I can do this kind of stuff, it's thanks to my Patreons. That's right, you are the best. Thank you so much for supporting my work. I wish I can bring all of you a warm croissant every morning. With the lining in place, I'm adding an elastic so it stays up on my arm in the right shape. And let's make a wristband with buttons to close these sleeves. One of the wrist layers is reinforced with some interfacing. Hopefully that will be enough to support the buttonholes and the buttons. Do not forget to clip your corners when you are turning something inside out. Finally, we can attach those sleeves to the body, with of course a little bit more of hand sewing to close the lining of the sleeves. I rolled hem on the bottom of the shirt because I forgot earlier.
Now we need some buttons.
I never ever bought a single button. I've just been hoarding all of them for so many years.
First option, black. Not bad, very Halloween, but maybe it's a bit too contrasted. How about these wooden ones? Maybe they fit better? I think these are nice. Final touch, some leaves using the velvet. But what do pumpkin leaves look like? A bit complicated, but we're gonna make some artistic choices here. But I especially like the little spring things. Is this shape acceptable? And last, to make the squeaky things, I'm just going to make a tube with some wire inside and hope for the best.